Hey guys, Vengeful Parrot here from Two True Reviews. Get ready to walk the plank, as today we're going to be talking about what is wrong with Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. This is the third video in my review of the game, so if you haven't already, I do recommend you going back and watching those first two videos. Now, I do just want to preface this video with the fact that anything that is based more in personal preference, I am not going to be talking about. I'm only going to be talking about parts of the game that just don't work well or are broken altogether. And the first thing I want to touch on is the hunting aspect of the game. The reasons for hunting in the game early on would be to earn some extra money, and you also hunt in order to gather materials to craft upgrades. You know, upgrades for your armor, additional ammo pouches, that kind of thing. Now, that's all well and good at a base level. However, you can, go out and purchase all the materials that you would normally gather from the hunting, which, on one hand, isn't a bad thing. It does give you that other option, but it also doesn't give you any sort of incentive to actually go out and hunt anymore. And that seems kind of broken to me. I feel like it should be, the pelts that you buy in the store are of a lesser quality, therefore they don't provide as much benefit or something like that. Because, once you start doing the Kenway's Fleet minigame that I talked about in my last video, you will effectively have no reason whatsoever to hunt anymore, because you'll be earning a lot of money. Especially once you get farther and farther into the minigame, you'll be getting a lot of money. I finished the game with over 150,000, and that was after purchasing every single item that I possibly could, including the art, quote-unquote, that you can buy from the general store that literally does nothing. Honestly, I don't see why there's the point in having the option to go out and hunt it yourself if you can just buy it. And a lot of the pelts are fairly cheap. Again, whether or not you choose to buy everything is obviously up to you, but I feel like they could have done a little bit more balancing in that regard. But enough about that. The next thing that I do want to talk to you guys about is just simply, the controls in the game. They are very similar to what they were in Assassin's Creed 3, so if you didn't like those, then you're going to have to deal with them again. They just take a little bit of getting used to, if you ask me, so it's not that big a deal. What I primarily mean is the controls on the boat can sometimes be a little weird. The way that you use the different ammunitions that you can buy is basically whichever direction your camera is pointing will determine which weapon you use. So if you're aiming off to the side, you'll shoot your regular cannons. If you're aiming straight forward, that's where you'll shoot your chase cannons, which shoot the chain shot. And sometimes I would be aiming forward and I would, hit left trigger in order to start the aiming process, I guess, and it would end up just flipping my camera around and telling me that I was actually looking backwards and now I'm going to be shooting fire barrels, which is totally obviously not correct. So those could be fine-tuned a little bit, and there is still the problem, although not as prevalent as in previous titles, where you can get stuck while climbing, or maybe he'll jump when you don't want him to, or that kind of thing. Again, it's not as prevalent as what it was in previous games, so it's not that big a deal. Other than that, there's not too much that's exactly wrong with this game. It's very well done. I have enjoyed it a lot. There are a noticeable amount of teeny tiny bugs throughout the game. And I'm talking about bugs that you will hardly be able to notice, or if you do notice them, they're not game-breaking and they're probably not going to affect you. It's typically graphical stuff, or, you'll be sailing along and all of a sudden one of the NPCs will fall off your boat. That kind of stuff. Anyways, we're going to be checking out the multiplayer next time, so yeah, get excited for that.